Welcome to a sports podcast special, and it's one that is certainly the most difficult for me as a Liverpool fan. On Sunday morning, Singapore time, what could have been, should have been a glorious moment turned into the last minutes of Infinity War, as the hopes of millions of Liverpool fans turned to ash in the wind. A bold, fearsome attacking team were gone in the blink of a shoulder injury. The damage was compounded by goalkeeping blunders. Sad, sad but true. I'm your host, Jonathan Roberts, and to discuss this exercise in desolation and to find if there's any light at the end of the tunnel that is not from an oncoming train is ST Sports correspondent Sazali Abdul Aziz. Hello.
Hi, John. You look sad.
I am sad. I'm feeling very sad. I don't know what you're sad about. Well, apart from that you support Newcastle, so
No, I'm full of smiles.
A constant fog of despair for all Newcastle fans.
In fact, when you say a bold, fearsome attacking team, I thought you were referring to John Joe Shelby and Ayose. So.
Wow. Okay, so clearly the delusional ST Sports correspondent. Whatever we're discussing in this particular thing, we'd like to get your feedback as well. So send us your take on the Champions League final to podcasts@sbh.com.sg. So, Saz, as a Newcastle fan, did you enjoy the Champions League final?
No, I enjoyed it very, very much. Usually 3 a.m. games, hit and miss sometimes. Could be a drab, chess game kind of football matches. But this one wasn't that. I was worried it was gonna go that way when Salah came off. But there was still so many talking points.
Who were you rooting for?
I was actually rooting for Liverpool simply because they have pedigree in the competition, but they were the underdogs heading into the game. So I thought it would be nice to see Salah and Mane and Firmino win it rather than Ronaldo again.
Yeah, that would have been nice, wouldn't it? Aside from the Liverpool desolation, there are some good things that came from it. Stats-wise, Zidane is now the first manager to win 3 consecutive Champions League finals, European Cup finals if you like. That ties in with Liverpool's Bob Paisley and Carlo Ancelotti, who used 2 teams to get to that figure. So Zidane has got something to smile about, even if he's not on talking terms with the guy who actually won the final for him. Let's get to the first thing, Karius. The Liverpool goalkeeper, who, if there's a place to make a mistake, it's definitely not the Champions League final, and it's definitely not at that level. He could not have had a worse match. Even if he pulled off wonder saves, the only way to cancel out those blunders would have been for the team to actually win. Should he have been taken off after that first blunder, the 51st minute goal?
No, I don't think using one substitution on a goalkeeper who had just made. It was a horrendous blunder, but I don't think it would have made sense to take him off.
But do you not think after that, surely that would shake anyone's confidence to the level that they're bound to make another mistake, and he did. Yeah,
but I don't think that mistake for the third goal was down to I'm feeling less confident because of my first mistake. I think this is my stand. I just think Karius isn't a very good goalkeeper, and he was exposed in the final. So I don't think a substitution would have made that much of a difference.
Obviously, he was all tears at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Held his hands up, mea culpa to the Liverpool fans. And to be honest, I can't really find it in my heart to continue the berating of him. I think he's suffered to have screwed up on the biggest of stages. Is punishment enough, really. But what do you think the future is for him?
I don't see a way back for him. There should be no way back for him. But it's going to be interesting to see if Klopp is going to take the tough decision and actually bring in another goalkeeper as a number 1, or put his arm around him and he has the club support and stuff like that. Because we've seen that from some managers. I actually tweeted this. It'll be interesting to see if Klopp takes a tough decision or does what Arsene Wenger did and insists that Almunia is good enough or Chesney is good enough.
Well, going off Klopp's post-match interview, he was as stunned and shaken as anyone else. There was no clear indication about what the fate for Karius would be. I don't know if it's on the same level, but of course David Beckham made his way back after a really bad blunder back in 1998 when he kicked Diego Simeone. He managed to come back, and he was vilified.
I think actually Beckham was vilified even more, especially by the press, than Karius. But I think one big difference is, Beckham made an error of judgment in deciding to kick out at Simeone. Karius just wasn't a good goalkeeper. It just wasn't good enough in what he has to do, which is his job. So while Beckham had the ability to come back from a setback like that, I don't think Karius does.
Well, the goalkeeping blunders is one thing, but of course, Liverpool also lost its main strike force when Salah was brought down by Ramos. And then it comes down to the issue of, is Liverpool a one-man team? Is it back to the old days of the early 2000s when the tactic used to be hoof it up to Michael Owen, and if he's not there, then...
No, I don't think they're that dependent on Salah, even though the obviously final outcome of the game seems to suggest that. But they still had their moments going forward, and I think obviously you can never discount players like Mane, Firmino, from delivering in.
Well, there used to be a sense, much more of a trident sense when Coutinho was still in the squad. That seems to have disappeared a little bit. It's still very much Salah, or maybe it's just that he's so prolific that seems the case.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because I think I read an article somewhere where I think Firmino was saying the secret to their success as a trio is that each one of them is unselfish. That's the main thing. So it just happens that Salah has been the benefactor this season. Next season we could see Firmino with 30 goals or Mane with 25 goals. It's not impossible.
Okay, of course Mane was the saving grace for Liverpool, but Firmino did not seem to be around in the final. Perhaps not as much as we would have liked him to be.
Yeah, well, Cristiano Ronaldo was not as...
No, he wasn't, was he? It was like...
So, I wouldn't say he had a bad game. I wouldn't go so far as to say he had a bad game. So, it is what it is.
Of course, the man who brought him down was Sergio Ramos, who you could say that he went onto the pitch with one intention, which was to bring the guys down. It's not just the Salah pull, he also clattered Karius. Which brings up the thing, surely now this is the time to actually bring video reffing in. You can't get away with that kind of stuff, surely.
Yeah, but
even though he has got away with it.
I do believe that I'm with the majority in thinking that he set out to do the things he did to injure Salah, and he knew what he was doing, and with Karius as well. But I've seen videos float around and opinions float around on the internet, which are arguable, which, for example, for the Salah foul, there was a video floating around where Salah actually appeared to grab him first, and then Ramos grabbed Salah's arm as he was going down. So the argument can be said, he didn't want to grab Salah wanted to grab him. And for the Karius one, apparently Van Dijk had sort of nudged him a bit before he although that obviously the elbows into the face was not Van Dijk's fault.
Elbow.
Yeah. So like I said, I do think that Ramos is a villain for doing what he did, but at the same time I think VAR or video evidence might not prove conclusive.
Well, good luck in trying to convince any Liverpool fans that is the case.
I'm doing a good job consoling you, by the way, right?
In the end, the winning team, said through highly gritted teeth, was of course Real Madrid, and the guy who won the match for them was the super sub Gareth Bale. Very expensive super sub. I don't know quite how he feels having scored such an amazing goal and won the match for a team that seemed to not want him anymore. What next for Gareth Bale? Clearly, Man United are looking to make a move for him.
My immediate thought would be, go for it, come back to the Premier League and make an impact there, because obviously I think he left Spurs with unfinished business in a sense. He didn't really win anything with Spurs. Obviously he's won whatever there is to win with Real Madrid: 4 European Cups, the La Liga, And yeah, I think it would be a nice challenge for him to come back, and it would be a nice boost for the Premier League as well. Having said that, to United, we've seen how Alexis Sanchez has sort of faded, under Mourinho.
Alexis who?
Yeah. So it's the worry is that Bale will also fade.
Yeah,
in the same way.
Obviously Man United are the ones that seem to have the deep enough pockets. They're pitching a 200 million possible swoop for him, which is about 357 Singapore dollars. Sorry, 357 million Singapore dollars, of course. But would he fit in at Man United?
I thought Alexis didn't fit in, so this is something for I guess the manager Mourinho to work out, and but then again, if you have a player of Bale's quality as he displayed in the final, I'm sure you'll find room for him in the 11 and how to get the best out of him.
Maybe Liverpool should make a swoop for him.
Maybe they should. Honestly, I don't see. I mean, if they're willing to break the bank and adjust their weight structure, I don't see why not. I mean, he would be a great addition to the team, really. So instead of Nabil Fekir from Lyon, who they've been linked with for a number of weeks and apparently close to signing, if Bale would be massive for them.
And finally, what next for Liverpool? I mean, everything seemed to be hinging on this, but I think they need to restructure it. This was not the be-all and end-all. They need to look forward. I think Klopp could take them there. He seems fairly balanced in his mind.
Does he?
Absolutely. He seems a very cool customer. He seems a very calm guy.
He's quite emotional. So, but yeah, I think like I said, right at the top, I think there are tough decisions to be made. He needs to get an established number one. He's worked wonders with Dejan Lovren, but he needs to beef up the defense, make a couple more additions in the attack and midfield, and I don't know. It may seem silly, but with the right additions and the right kind of depth, they might even challenge for the title next year.
So you think he should get rid of Karius?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I don't see a way back for him. I know the empathy in human beings will make people think, oh, we should give him another chance, try to work his way back, but if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. I mean, and there's only one goalkeeper you can play every game. It's not as though you can pair him with a second goalkeeper while he tries to build his confidence back up, right?
Well, thank you, Saz, for this therapy session. Look out for more podcasts at straitstimes.com, and if you've got any comments about this particular episode, send your queries, comments and abuse to podcast@sph.com.sg, and do look out for the next sports podcast when it comes out. Thanks for listening. Bye.